Good morning. We set aside this time for brief announcements that will be of interest to our community and friends. Please be succinct when announcing upcoming events or dates. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand. When Julia or I call on you, come to the podium right here, or unmute yourself online and speak. Janet?
Okay, the UK hike slideshow will be shared after brunch is served this morning. Well, so I hope some of you can join us or stay and enjoy your brunch and a slideshow. The other thing is today's Fourth Sunday, and we're collecting for the Cambria Head Start. That program is administered by Capslo, and it's here at the Old Grammar School. It's for 3 to 5-year-olds. So please remember that when the offering, we are going to take an offering today, I assume. And lastly, just a reminder to turn in your pledge forms for your 2026 pledges. We're going to need to get those in so we can finalize our budget for next year. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I also have 3 announcements, and thank you for letting me do this first one. My daughter, Jenna Madama, is hosting the Bazaar over at the Park Collective today, over at Stolo. It's just right up Santa Rosa Creek Road on the left, featuring 15 local artists, Bridge Street restaurant serving paella, and a local Spanish musician from Ecuador. So that's up at Stolo Winery. And Rebecca was there last year playing her bells, remember? Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, the other thing is today's the big shop day. Shane is coming with me and Chris is meeting me, and we're going to spend $1,300 on groceries. Tomorrow is the day that if you have food to give or unexpired food or unopened household products, bring it up to the grammar school. We'll happily help you lift it if you can, and even if it's just a couple items, just bring it between 10 and 11. And last but not least, we forgot a couple things last year when we did our report for the SEJC, and that is we gave $1,000 to Green Space for it was a scholarship, right, Wayne? Nature education, yeah. And so we did that, and also I was supposed to introduce Ted last week, my bad, about the highway cleanup. So Ted's just going to say a couple sentences about the highway cleanup. Thank you, Ted.
So the Highway Cleanup Group, for those of you online who might not have been able to hear that, the Highway Cleanup Group is active and continuing and open for additional volunteers. If you're interested, please contact Ted or check that box on your pledge form. Or Sue Davis, okay. Thank you very much. Any other, Randy?
Okay, good morning. Tomorrow at 4:30, the Worship Committee is meeting online, and all of you in that committee, please join us. And if you're interested in joining us as well, we'd love to have you. So just drop me a note, and I will send you the link.
Thank you, Randy. Yes, come on up. Actually, I have one before I forget. Those of you who are interested in the book discussion group on Wednesday afternoons, this would be this Wednesday is scheduled to happen. How many of you, I know it's a holiday week, so how many of you would be able to attend? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay, four is a minion. So we will have that discussion group Wednesday at 4 o'clock here in the sanctuary. You're all welcome to join, attend, but at least 4 of us will be there. Who else had their hand up? Please, come on.
I can't thank everybody enough for all the concerns that you had for me while I was ill. I have a stack of cards like that from you with your sentiments and feelings, and they made me feel better every day. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Next week, Diane DeMarco will facilitate a congregational circle. The chairs will be in yet another configuration focused on how we connect our 6 UU values. So let's take a moment to still our hearts, quiet our minds, and center ourselves. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. From the Emma Lazarus poem, The New Colossus, inscribed at the base of the Statue of Liberty in New York City Harbor. Maria will light the chalice here in the sanctuary. Those of you at home are invited to light your own chalice now. The flaming chalice has been a symbol of hope and defiance in our faith and beyond it since the Unitarian Service Committee began using the image in 1940 as a beacon to those seeking safety, dignity, and justice. As we light this chalice today, may its signal continue to call to all who seek a more just and loving world, and to connect us to all who are working to make it so. Those lovely words by our dear friend, Reverend Laura Randall. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever's with you to sing as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the opening hymn, A Just Peace, by Timothy L. Anderson.
So this is another new hymn from our virtual hymnal, and it has 4 verses, so I'm not going to, and I don't play lead guitar very well, so I can't play a verse and bring the melody out, so we're going to flail through it together. I think by the time we get to the 4th verse, you'll know it. Okay. Peace is not the silence after battle, when the vanquished live their lives in fear. Peace comes when we nurture, care for others, find humanity behind their tears. We got some good readers in this group. Peace is not a quiet resignation in the face of anguish and despair. Peace comes when we lend our voice to others, lifting up their suffering and their cares. Peace is not an ordered way of living, realized through systems that oppress. Peace comes when we foster means to flourish, giving ways for all goods to possess. Peace is not mere tolerance of others, choosing to ignore and not engage. Peace comes when we see in one another neighbors all in life from age to age.
Once again, good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We're glad you've joined us today. Our UUCC sanctuary sits on land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous peoples historically inhabited. I was deeply moved to learn that at last week's annual meeting, our congregation voted overwhelmingly to designate the Salinan Tribe Education Fund as a recipient of our 4th Sunday special collection, and that our scholarship committee has targeted 1 scholarship for a student from the Salinan tribe. In these ways, we honor their contribution to this region and give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred space. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds, as well as community leaders, to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and in areas of interest that connect with the UU 7 principles and 6 values: equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, justice, interdependence, with love at the center. Today's service centers around 3 of these values. Interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence and acknowledge our place within it. Justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all feel welcome and can thrive. And equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. My name is Andy Fagan, and I am your worship associate for this morning's service. We extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you wish, please introduce yourself or your guest. Anybody care to do so? That's fine. If you're not on the mailing list, please visit the UUCC website at uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. Members and friends, please check out What's Happening, the e-blast sent to you every week. This is a great way to keep up to date with our latest news. And to see this or any of the past Zoom services, going back about 5 or 6 years now, the recordings can be found on the UUCC website. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. Let us now recite the UUCC affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. Now's the time for sharing your heartfelt joys and concerns with this, your spiritual community. Please feel free to come forward and briefly express a personal celebration, sorrow, reflection, or gratitude. Now the collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which may have gone unspoken today, but are deeply felt in this community. Our first reading is an excerpt from the UU Service Committee website. The Unitarian Universalist Service Committee is a charitable organization associated with the Unitarian Universalist Association that seeks to assist the poor and dispossessed. In 1940, the Unitarian Services Committee, the predecessor of the UUSC, was established to coordinate humanitarian efforts and offer aid to European refugees during World War II. As a Unitarian minister and social worker living in Wellesley, Massachusetts, the Reverend Waitstill Sharp and his wife, Martha, were called to assist refugees in Prague, traveling abroad and contributing whatever they could to help persecuted peoples escape war. Since then, the UUSC has lived out a dynamic and rich history of bolstering grassroots-led movements for change in the United States and around the world. From organizing exploited migrating workers in Texas in the 1940s, providing economic support to Central American communities in the 1980s, addressing the Rwandan genocide in the 1990s, and working to stop the impacts of climate change in the 2000s and beyond, UUSC's history has consistently centered the needs and solutions of communities experiencing oppression and injustice. The UU Service Committee connects communities with the least access to power, skill, resource, and space to effect real change. The UUSC takes great care to listen to its partners and grantees, ensuring their needs are met and that they have our long-term support to achieve the biggest impact possible in their justice work. The UUSC works with many partners and grantees such as the transgender community, the immigrant community, and climate activists. The work supports movements that build collective power and advance equity. At this moment, the main areas of focus are responding to unexpected United States policy shifts, such as the cutting off of U.S. aid funds, protecting against ICE raids, and protecting minority communities, staying deeply interconnected and grounded in solidarity with frontline communities around the world. This work links to the UU principles of interdependence, justice, and equity. Why donate to the UUSC? Your generosity supports grassroots organizers challenging injustice and building a better world. There's so much work to do, and together we will do it. The Guest at Your Table program joins fellow UU congregation members in upholding human rights work around the globe through a contribution to the UUSC. Donate by mailing your check made out to the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. Be sure to note UU Community of Cambria on your check, or alternatively give your check to Janet Cooper, Robert Wilkinson, or myself. We'll combine those donations and send them directly to the UUSC. That way, our contributions will be credited to both our congregation and each individual member. Let us enter a place of peace and serenity where you are one with your spiritual being. Be at peace within your space where the absence of all that is temporal is its most cherished gift. Let us enter the stillness. Spirit of life and love and regeneration, help us to feel the wisdom in our bodies. Even with so much going so wrong, our hearts beat with gratitude for blessings, for beauty and joy stubbornly breaking through, for the compassionate companionship of community, which welcomes all that we bring with us in these times, for solidarity and mutual aid, for the trees and the wind and the stars, their cosmic witness soothing our animal souls, reminding us of the deep impermanence and the deep interconnectedness of all things. Spirit of transformation, may our hearts break open and stretch out to join with the hearts of others who yearn for a freer world. Each heart a building block of a better society, each life lived for hope and resistance, a prayer for a nobler world. Amen and blessed be. Deportee, Plane Wreck at Los Gatos, is a protest song written by Woody Guthrie in 1948 after a plane carrying Mexican farm workers crashed in California, and newspapers identified the victims only as deportees. The song challenges that dehumanization and honors the workers' lives, turning a forgotten tragedy into a lasting statement on dignity and justice. Mary will sing the verses and we can join in on the chorus. Deportee, words by Woody Guthrie, music by Martin Hoffman.
Crops are all in and the peaches are rotting. The oranges piled in their creosote dumps. You're flying them back to the Mexican border. It takes all their money to wade back again. My father's own father, he waded that river. They took all the money he made in his life. My brothers and sisters, they work in the fruit trees. They rode the truck till they took up and died. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplanes. All they will call you will be deportee. Some are illegal and some are not wanted. Our work contract's out and we have to move on. 600 miles to the Mexican border. They chase us like outlaws, like thieves. We died in your hills and we died on your deserts. We've died in your mountains and died on your plains. We've died neath your trees and we've died in your bushes. Both sides of the river, we've died just the same. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplanes. All they will call you will be deportee. The sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon, a fireball of lightning that shook all our hills. Who were all these dear friends all scattered like dry leaves? The radio says they were just deportees. Is this the best way we can raise our good orchards? Is this the best way we can grow our good crops? To die and be scattered, to rot in the topsoil, to be called by no name except deportee. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplanes. All they will call you will be deportee.
Today's talk is titled Reflections on the Other, to be delivered by our own Robert Wilkinson. Robert has been a member of this congregation and a Cambria resident for approximately 5 years. Before retiring, he was a practicing attorney for 40 years, serving as a legal services lawyer, a public defender, and finally in private practice during that 40-year time span. Most importantly, Robert has been a Unitarian Universalist for the past 30 years, first at the UU Church in Fresno, and now the UU community of Cambria. He is married to his beloved wife, Nancy Tolan, for 40 years. They have 2 children and recently have been happily blessed with a granddaughter. Robert, please beam in and share with us.
There are many examples of the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria and its members' involvement in social and environmental justice work and the principles of interdependence, justice, and equity. Some of the examples are local and are well known to us. But one example is our involvement with the San Luis Obispo County Food Bank. Every month, a group of our members, led by Janet Cooper, assist the food bank by supplying and distributing food to families in northern San Luis Obispo County. Another example is Kat Lekic, year-round work with the unhoused community in Cambria, encouraging people and helping them survive in a hostile world. And the third example is Wayne Atto. There are many others as well, who for a long time has worked with Green Space and the Cambria Land Trust to protect the environment for everybody's benefit. Each of these local efforts is worth a service of its own. My talk today, however, concerns the application of the principles of interdependence, justice, and equity far away from Cambria. In one case, and in another case, it's of a national scope. In the first, it's about our responsibility as a nation for using and leaving instruments of war in other countries. And in the second case, it's our treatment as a society of essential workers who have come to the U.S. without having the skill and resources to navigate U.S. immigration law. First, in Nancy's and my travels outside the U.S., we observed Laos and the United States struggle with these qualities, interdependence, justice, and equity. We learned that Laos has a sad distinction of being the most heavily bombed country in the world. During the Vietnam War, North Vietnam used the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which is in Laos bordering Vietnam. They used the trail to supply North Vietnam troops in South Vietnam. In an attempt to stop the use of the trail, the United States dropped 2 million tons of bombs on Laos, nearly equal to the 2.1 million tons of bombs that the U.S. dropped in all of Europe and Asia during World War II. This amounted to nearly a ton of bombs per ocean. Some of the 80 million bombs dropped and scattered throughout Laos also failed to explode. After the war, these unexploded bombs continued to kill Laotians at the rate of anywhere from 300 to 50 a year. This included many children and farmers. During our visit to Laos capital, Vientiane, we visited the Cooperative Orthotic and Prosthetic Enterprise, or COPE. There we saw exhibits of the bombs, and we were told how they were located and disarmed. The exhibits of the removal of the bombs was funded in part by U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID. Shortly after our visit to COPE, with disappointment, we learned that the support of the removal of unexploded bombs had been cut back by the United States. This was in disregard, in our mind, to the status as world power that the United States enjoys and its interdependence and dropping excessive bombs on the small country of Laos. Cutting back on the bombs also violated the principle of justice, protecting the Laotian people's ability to thrive, and it violates our principle of equity, protecting the Laotians' right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. This experience in Laos raises the question of how many unexploded bombs manufactured or supplied by the United States are there in the Ukraine, Gaza, the Sudan, or other theaters of war. So this issue is one that is bound to come back and call on us for our action. What is the United States' responsibility to disarm and dispose of unexploded ordnance such as this? Here, another example is what we deal with here with the issue of immigration. Reading from a sermon by Mr. Leach, quote, "Few of their children in the country learn English unless the stream of their importation could be turned. They will soon outnumber us. That all of the advantages we have will not be able to preserve our language, and even our government will become precarious." End quote. Does this sound familiar? This complaint was actually made by Benjamin Franklin in the 1750s. Yes, that Benjamin Franklin that some claim was a Unitarian at heart. He opined, quote, "Those who come hither are generally of the most ignorant, stupid sort of their own nation," end quote. And he cited a fellow protectionist who charged, quote, "They are not esteemed men until they have shown their manhood in beating their mothers," end quote. Well, this may sound like the rantings of right-wing radio. It was the 18th century influx of Germans into Pennsylvania that prompted Ben Franklin to fly his kite right into the middle of the debate about immigration. Later, Franklin ominously warned, quote, "If they are not excluded from the United States by the Constitution, within less than 100 years, they will stream into this country in such numbers that they will rule and destroy us," end quotation. This time, the they about whom he was so concerned were Jews whose entry into this country he soundly opposed. More than 2.5 centuries later, we are still struggling with this issue. The claims and warnings made about the injurious effects of immigration are at times equally repugnant and dubious. Beacon Press, the Unitarian publishing house, recently published a book, "They Take Our Jobs and 20 Other Myths About Immigration." This time, the word myth is not being used to mean one of humankind's grounding stories, but rather inaccurate claims based on misinformation. Because of the complexity of this issue and the limitation of our time, I'll briefly visit only the first of these so-called myths. Author Avia Chomsky writes, quote, immigrants take American jobs, end quote. This is one of the most common arguments brandished to justify the need for a restrictive immigration policy. No doubt we've all heard that claim. Chomsky goes on to say, quote, the first fallacy lies in the very concept of American jobs, that the idea of jobs having a national identity is practically useless. Chomsky points to the history of U.S. industry seeking to reduce costs by employing, quote, the poorest, most vulnerable people, end quote. As unions and labor laws in this nation make it possible for workers to participate in the benefits of industrialization, companies began to seek cheaper labor elsewhere. Often aided by our own government, companies have been financially rewarded for their participation in what some analysts call the race to the bottom. The concerted effort to find cheaper and cheaper workers around the world. Reverend Leach, the author of part of this talk, was on a corporate responsibility committee for a major Catholic healthcare system, and in that role participated on a trip to the Mexican border just south of Texas, venturing back into a huge shanty town filled with workers in the so-called maquiladora industries. He stopped and talked with a woman who produced a pay stub. He made less than $1 an hour assembling dashboards for a U.S. automaker. Her husband was employed by a U.S. electronics company. Lured to the border by promises of good jobs, their wages instead kept them confined to a sprawling shanty town with ramshackle dwellings, little running water or electricity, and children playing in dusty streets filled with stench. We live and benefit from a global economy. The things we wear, drive, eat, and use are cheaper because some, like this couple, provide an inexpensive source of labor. Those workers now compete in a global economy. But my faith reminds me that my ultimate allegiance, is not to this country. My ultimate self-definition is not as a U.S. citizen. When I say we, I'm constantly challenged to think in larger categories. Not we meaning men, not we meaning white people, not we meaning straight people, not we meaning educated progressives, and not even we meaning citizens of this country. As we reflect on complex issues like immigration, as we overhear the voices of immigrants in Cambria, our faith constantly beckons us beyond all narrow definitions of we. It challenges us to expand our scope, to recognize that the real implications of a professed belief in an interdependent web may be less about a peaceful stroll through nature and more about personal dilemmas fostered by our participation in a global economy based on worker exploitation. Maybe that's how we can contribute to the raging debate about immigration, not from a self-interested standpoint, asking, what's in it for me? Not from a nationalist viewpoint, seeing it as us versus them, but from the viewpoint of the interdependent web of human existence, recognizing that in the end, there are no theys, There are only we's. This doesn't offer us any easy or obvious answers. It does suggest a starting point for the conversation. It's one Professor Joseph Campbell commended, using myth as one of the founding starting points in the grounding story of humankind. Here's the only myth that is going to be worth thinking about in the immediate future is the one that is talking about the planet, not the city, not these people, but the planet and everyone on it, for which our faith and hope and commitments pray. So Chomsky notes the notion of jobs having a national identity is increasingly anachronistic. She goes on to cite studies that demonstrate a much more complex relationship between immigration and job loss or gain seems apparent. One of these concludes, no consistent pattern emerges to show that native-born workers suffered or benefited from increased numbers of foreign-born workers. Whether or not this is the case, it is considerably more apparent that the profitability of companies is enhanced when they are free to seek cheap labor anywhere in the world. That's one of Mr. Leach's questions in the debate about immigration. Can you make a moral case? That is a moral case for mobile capital and an immobile workforce? That is, how does one morally defend a system that says if you already have resources, you are free to make money anywhere in the world? However, if you are just a worker, you are confined to your own national borders. We do live in a global economy, but do we think globally? Do we act globally? Do we apply ethical standards globally? We are the ones recognizing and professing, quote, a respect for the interdependent web of all existence for which we are a part, end quote. Where immigration is concerned, does the we in that statement refer, who does the we in that statement refer to? I'm not reticent to acknowledge my patriotism like Mr. Leach. I love this country. I regularly celebrate what is so wonderful about it. I'm one of those people who actually stops and sings the national anthem at sporting events. It's a little expression of gratitude for all the benefits I enjoy as a citizen. The ultimate definition is not as a U.S. citizen. As I've already mentioned, we have to think of we as being part of a larger category, not meaning men, white people, straight people, educated liberals, or well-meaning citizens. We have to reflect on the issue of immigration when we overhear voices and benefit from the work of immigrants here in Cambria. We have to reckon or see ourselves beyond the narrow definition of we and expand our scope to recognize the implications of the professed belief of an interdependent web. And it may be less about a peaceful stroll through nature and more about personal dilemmas fostered by our participation in a global economy based on worker exploitation. Maybe that's how we can contribute to the debate about immigration, not from a self-interested standpoint, asking what's in it for me, not in the nationalistic viewpoint, seeing it as us versus them, but from a world viewpoint of the interdependent web, recognizing that in the end, there are only we's, there are no they's. This doesn't offer us any easy, obvious answers. Using the myth as one of the founding grounding stories of humankind, the thinking about this issue in the immediate future is one that references the planet, not the city, not the people, but the planet and everybody on it, for which our faith in hope and commitment prays. May it be so.
Now let us share in a responsive reading titled "We Will Pay Attention" by Leslie Takahashi. As fear abounds, may courage as well. In these times we know we will need not to turn away nor surrender in advance. In the coming years, when asked to turn away, to focus on our own survival and to disregard our neighbors, knowing the promise of plurality, we will pay attention. We honor democracy despite its unrealized ideals. We who value the give and take of shaping a future understand the importance of those groups and places that are essential to the democratic practices. Honoring the many places that offer sanctuary, we will pay attention. Though attacks on truth may rain down upon us, we will not succumb. What we spread will continue to be rooted in fact and to protect the honest lessons of history. As a truth-loving people, we will pay attention. We understand that the best of what we experience was hard-won by those who came before us. We will continue to honor our spiritual ancestors. We hold the special grief of those who never thought they would fight for their basic rights again. In the name of our ancestors, we will pay attention. We who have had years of thriving, who have enjoyed times of abundance, hear the cries of those generations who may never experience this. We will think about how we might have a bit less that they have more. For the sake of our children, and all children are ours, we will pay attention. We who are struggling to comprehend all that is lost, acknowledge the long struggle before us. We pledge to engage in joy and fun, care for ourselves and our beloveds, for undermining our own lives will not speed justice. For the sake of our own bodies, hearts, and minds, we will pay attention. We will continue to hold the ideals of what our democracy might someday realize. When we are in a position to do so, we will defend others. When we are in need of defense, we will ask for assistance. In the spirit of interdependence, we will pay attention. In all of this, we remember that we do not do this alone. Together, we will pay attention. Thank you. And thank you, Robert. Robert's taken over, many of you know, as the current liaison for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. He took it over from me a year ago, and he designed this morning's service. So in the midst of watching his granddaughter come into this world, he was also working for all of us to put this together. So thank you again. The morning offering will now be given and received. Please remember, we are a self-sustaining congregation and provide all financial resources for our many ministries. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you are viewing this service remotely, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. Thank you, Steve Nathanson, for lifting us up with your beautiful guitar music. And thank you all for the gifts given and received for the work of this community. Please stand in body or spirit and sing our final hymn, If I Had a Hammer, by Lee Hayes and Pete Seeger.
I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out a warning, I'd ring out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. It's to sing out danger, I'd sing out a warning, I'd sing out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, I've got a hammer, and I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the bell about the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this. Now you get to go up. It's a song about justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, let us recite our valediction. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, and we know that the light of truth and love and the warmth of this community go with us until we meet again. Please extinguish your chalice at home now. Now, given our unusual arrangement, please hold hands with your neighbors as you are able. If those of you down front want to come and form a circle, that'll work.
We can contribute to the debate about interdependence, justice, and equity from a worldview recognizing there are no theys, there are only we's. The only myth worth talking about is the one that talks about the planet, not talking about the city, not talking about these people, but talking about the planet and everyone on it, for which our faith, hope, and commitment pray. May it be so.